I call this meeting to order. Welcome everybody here. We've got a couple of public hearings to do first. Mr. Goulard.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have two public hearings. One public hearing deals with our proposed 2016 budget, and the other is a public hearing concerning a rezoning of property on Dietz Road. So I will start with ordinance number 2015-11. It's an ordinance to approve the 2016 fiscal year budget for the city of Fort Oglethorpe. The proposed budget is $14,240,324. And tonight, this public hearing affords the public the opportunity to make any comments you would like to make or ask any questions you would like to ask about the proposed budget. So with that being said, if there's anyone in attendance that would like to make a comment or have any concerns about the budget, if you'll please come forward and sign the sign-in sheet. You can make your comments or make your inquiries. Did you have your hand up? Mr. Kistner, I thought you had your hand up. Mr. Mayor, it appears that there's no one in attendance here tonight that has any comment on the 2016 budget. Therefore, I would close that public hearing and proceed to the next public hearing. This is ordinance number 2015-01. It's rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and it is hereby ordained by the authority thereof that the following property owned by Wanda A. Harwood and Brenda A. Mathis, known as 1565 Dietz Road, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, is hereby rezoned to a PM zoning. Now that's a planned development, mixed-use zoning. It's similar to what we call a PUD. If there's anyone in attendance here tonight that would like to comment on this particular rezoning, if you'll please raise your hand or come forward. Yes, sir. You want to come to the podium, excuse me, and sign the sign-up sheet there, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Michael Osborne, Call Valley Engineering, 14700 West 114th Terrace, Lenexa, Kansas. I'm representing Zimmerman Develop LLC, who is also working with the Harwoods on the rezoning of this property. With me tonight, I also have Timothy Bullard, who works with Zimmerman Properties Southeast LLC. We thank you for the opportunity to be in front of you this evening. And first, I'll ask, I did forward a kind of an overview of the project last week. I don't know if that got distributed or not.
It did already.
Okay, I've got them here if anybody needs another copy of it. But basically our project is fairly simple. We have 7.8 acres over on Dietz Road that's currently mostly vacant land with a single family home. My client, the development team, is looking to develop a age-restricted housing unit or development on that property. It'll have 78 units. The age restriction, there'll be 1 and 2 bedrooms, excuse me. The age restriction will be 55 and older. Our client has over 500 of these properties throughout the Midwest and the East and wants to add to their portfolio here in Fort Oglethorpe. This will not be a fully assisted living, but it's just an age-restricted housing development that will have many, many opportunities as far as some transportation, local garden on site, gazebo, and other functions and common spaces within the development itself. I think with the attachment I sent, it does show a picture of the development and also a site plan regarding the development. It'll be a single-story building, 3 stories tall, With that, there'll be 1 to 2 elevators depending upon the final arrangement of the site itself. One of the things I did want to bring forward is what we feel is the impact of the community. First and foremost, there are no specifically age-restricted units of this type, we understand, in Fort Oglethorpe, and we feel that this will bring a needed element to the city that will be very beneficial to it. In addition, it will take a piece of ground that is currently single-family and doesn't yield very much to the tax rolls. Right now, it brings in a total of $1,335 a year to both the city, the school district, and the county. And with the improvement, we will develop an $8 million project that will then yield in excess of $100,000 to both the city, or to combined to the city, the county, and the school district. One of the things we feel that's more than beneficial with this is that we are an age-restricted development, so we will be providing roughly $60,000 to the school district, but in general, in the history throughout all of our properties that we have in the Midwest and the East Coast, we have less than 1% school-age children in the development itself. So in essence, the school district will receive a large fund with no additional cost of operation associated with it. With that, we've also looked at the demand and need and have found that there is a definite, as I said, without there being a specific development within the city itself, that the age group within the city would benefit greatly from this opportunity. So with that, many more items are outlined within the document I'd previously provided, but I would stand here for any questions that he may have, and if you have any questions of our development team, Mr. Bullard would be available to answer any questions also. I thank you for your time.
Is there any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else in attendance here tonight that would like to comment on this proposed rezoning? Let the record reflect that there's no one else in attendance that wants to comment on this rezoning project. Therefore, I declare this public meeting closed and meeting back to the mayor.
Let me call the regular scheduled meeting to order. First item on the agenda is invocation. Everybody please stand. Dear Lord, I pray you will be with us tonight as we endeavor to take care of the business of the citizens of the city of Fort Oglethorpe. Give this mayor and give this council and give the visitors here in this council room the wisdom and the strength to help take care of the business for the taxpayers of the citizens of this city. And help this mayor to conduct this meeting properly to take care of that business. In your name we pray. Amen. Would you lead us in the pledge?
Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My wife cleaned my glasses so I can see a little better. So anyway, next item on the agenda, the reading of the minutes of the previous council meeting, the September 28, 2015 meeting. If the members of council have had an opportunity to review those, is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Crawford.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rogers. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, unanimous. Next item on the agenda, communications from the mayor. The mayor's going to be rather brief tonight. We lost another fine citizen of the city of Fort Oglethorpe. Charles Lust passed away several days ago. Charles was a true asset to our community. He really, truly helped our community grow and prosper. In his tenure as CEO of a couple of local banks, he was very active in this community. I'm going to ask the members of the council and the audience to please stand and let's have a moment of silence for Charles Lust. Thank you. It is election time. And if you're flying over the city or driving through the city, you see a lot of signs. We all need to get out of politics and get into the printing business and print signs. It's a whole lot more profitable. So, and today was the first day of early voting. Early voting will go through the 30th of October. Election day is on November the 3rd. I know everybody in this city, this mayor included, and all candidates, and even those that are not candidates, are looking forward to November the 4th. So that'll be the first day of the rest of our lives. So let's hope the elections go smooth. There was not a whole lot of people voted early today, but 60-70% of the people do vote early in our elections now. And it is great to be able to walk in, vote, without standing in a long line and waiting for a long time. And we are a senior citizen city now. That's all the mayor has for tonight. Next item on the agenda, zoning matters, we have none. Next item on the agenda, second reading 2015-10. Mr. Goulart.
Ordinance number 2015-10, ordinance to amend the 2015 fiscal year budget. Ordinance number 2014-12 for the city of Fort Oglethorpe. The amended 2015 budget will reflect an increase in income on the revenue side of $560,267.61. Likewise, that same amount would be reflected on the expense.
Could you use the microphone closer, please?
How about that?
Yes.
That works.
It may be just my voice. Okay. The water and sewer budget will be amended to reflect an increase in income in the amount of $59,985.65. Likewise, that would reflect the same amount on the expenditures. The CDGB fund would reflect an increase in income in the amount of $35,603, and likewise the same amount for the expenditures. That's the second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Goulart. Next item, second reading on 2015-11. Mr. Goulart.
Okay. This is the proposed 2016 budget. It's ordinance number 2015-11, ordinance to approve the 2016 fiscal year budget for the city of Fort Oglethorpe. The proposed budget for 2016 would reflect revenues in the amount of $14,240,324. The expenditures would be $14,240,324, and that's the second reading. The third and final reading will be at our next regular meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Goulart. Next item, second reading, ordinance number 2015-12, annexation. Mr. Goulart.
Ordinance number 2015-12, annexation, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and it is hereby ordained by the authority thereof, that the following property owned by Michael G. and Melvina Shaw, known as 899 Kinsey Street, Rossville, Georgia, 30741, is hereby annexed into the city of Fort Oglethorpe. A second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Goulart. Next item on the agenda, second reading, ordinance 2015-13, rezoning.
Ordinance number 2015-13, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and it is hereby ordained by the authority thereof, that the following property owned by Steve Dilbeck, known as 2958 Lafayette Road, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, 30742, is hereby rezoned to a C1 special exception zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Goulart. Next item on the agenda, third and final reading.
This would be the third and final reading of the rezoning request that we had the public hearing on. This is ordinance number 2015-01, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and it is hereby ordained by the authority thereof, that the following property owned by Wanda A. Harwood and Brenda A. Mathis, known as 1565 Dietz Road, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, is hereby rezoned to a PM zoning.
Is there a motion to approve? Do we have a motion to approve this third and final reading? Dies for lack of a motion. Next item on the agenda, resolutions, there be none. Next item on the agenda, unfinished business, there is none. Next item on the agenda, reading of the city clerk of any communications, there is none. Next item on the agenda, new business, Steve Moore, the Recreation Association.
I think most of you, Mr. Mayor, City Council know me. I'm Stephen Moore. I've been on the board of directors of the LFO Rec for about 10 years now and have been the treasurer over there about as long. We recently finally completed a project that Mayor Cobb started. The Miss Stent, your dad was greatly involved with. We finally got our lights up. Those of you that have been over the ball fields in the last 20 years, we've had light poles that had fallen down while kids were present. It became a very dangerous situation. And I want to thank this mayor and the council, Mr. Goulart. This has been a long time coming, working with the county and the school board to get this project finally completed. If you haven't been over there to see them, you need to go see them. It's a state-of-the-art facility that goes in conjunction with all of the money we have spent and this council has helped with in redoing the ball fields. We have it's not new, but it's new to us, and it's a very nice facility. It's one of the best around in North Georgia and Chattanooga. Those of you who hadn't been over there in a long time, we had the same concrete stands that were built in the late 50s and early 60s. Finally, most of them are all gone. We have one set left to do, and it will be a magnificent ballpark for the city of this size and for a city of any size. We are the envy of many places in the state of Georgia. Some of you may know we hold some very large baseball tournaments up here, including the one Rick Honeycutt tournament. Draws teams from all over the southeast. And we always have a lot of compliments from teams from many other states, how nice our facilities are and how fortunate we should feel to have a mayor and council that is supportive of the recreational program for the city's children. So on behalf of the rec, I'd like to present this mayor and the council with a plaque, thanking them for all your continued support to get those lights finished and complete and up, and also hope that you'll continue to support all the programs for the children of the city of Fort Oglethorpe.
Do we?
We'll do a photo.
Let's take a picture of this.
Mr. Perry.
Come on back up.
Brian.
You stand right there if you want to.
Feature on this time. You don't want Jeff in this. Jeff.
Brian, you need to get a license.
Ready? Get several. That look like you're halfway happy. Thank you.
Do we need to do anything on this, Mr. Goulart? Do we need to vote on this?
No, sir, no, sir.
Next item on the agenda, agency incentive grant from the Governor's Highway Safety, Mr. McConaughey.
Good afternoon. Always a pleasure to be here. Back in March, I put in a proposal for a grant for the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. If you keep up with this, I seem to get one about every year. Tens of thousands of dollars are awarded through federal 402 funds to agencies if they meet certain requirements for proposal. I had put in a request and wrote a grant for 3 Digital Ally DVM 800 digital cameras for the patrol cars. They're about $3,900 a piece. We were awarded that grant of $10,000. And so what I'm here tonight is to, A, let you know that we were awarded a grant for $10,000 and what we have to buy with it, and that is traffic safety items. So I'm going to be ordering, with your permission, of course, that's what I'm here for, to get your permission, 3 Digital Ally DVM 800 pluses for a total of $10,000.
Now, is there any match on this?
It's 100% paid by federal 402 funds, zero matching. So it's money that's put aside for agencies if they meet certain requirements, and I've got a pretty good knack at that so far. So I've never put in for one that I didn't get.
Okay, do we need, there's nothing for us to vote on since there's no...
It's the $10,000 that we're going to spend on the cameras.
Okay, is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Smith, second by Ms. Stenney. Any further discussion? Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stenney?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Motion carried unanimous. Next item on the agenda,
Mr. Mayor?
City Manager's
Mr.
report.
Mayor?
Oh,
May I piggyback what Captain McConaughey was talking about for just a minute, please?
go ahead.
Thank
Come
you.
to the mic so I can hear you. I've lost my good hearing.
That's all right. I've lost a lot of things. The grant was not the only thing Captain McConaughey picked up. For his dedicated support to the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, especially in the mountain area traffic enforcement network, for all you do to save lives on Georgia roadways, Maintenance Officer of the Year is presented to Captain Gary McConaughey of the Fort Oglethorpe Police Department. He has done an outstanding job with this project. He has brought in thousands and thousands of dollars that we would have never had, and I'd like to recognize him for his efforts. If we could bring him back up here and give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much. If I might just say one thing, this is not for the entire state, it's just the 40 counties in the north end.
That's all. Well,
Gary, come on up here.
Captain McConaughey, please join us.
Up here or down here?
Right here, sir.
I'll get up here in the front.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
Let's see if you
Hold on just a minute, we're going to give you the certificate.
Is it Frank?
We already have Frank.
Here, you got to do this one. Can't you? Gotta make it look like politics.
Yes. I said you're so small.
And Mr. Mayor, if I could, I'd like to read one more document, please.
Okay.
This is from the Walker County Sheriff's Department from Sheriff Steve Wilson. To me, as Chief Eubanks, I wish to take this time to recognize and commend Lieutenant Keith Sewell for the assistance he provided to Walker County deputies on the scene of a domestic violence call at 25 Cochran Drive, Rossville, Georgia, on the night of September 27, 2015. As you are aware, after about an hour at the residence, deputies and Georgia State Patrol troopers were required to use force against the suspect that ended with the death of the suspect. I recognize that this situation was filled with trepidation and anxiety on behalf of each law enforcement officer present. Again, I appreciate Lieutenant Sewell responding to fellow officers in need of help. With gratitude, Steve Wilson, Sheriff of Walker County. And with that, I'm through, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Goodlord, City Manager's report.
Okay, the only thing I have to report tonight, of course, you've already touched on the early voting. You may recall last meeting I told you we were going out for bids on the paving projects. We will be opening those bids on Thursday. That will amount to about 8 miles of repaving. So anyone here or any of the council members that would like to be here Thursday to witness that, you're more than welcome. That's the only thing I have, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Goodlord. Next item on the agenda, City Council comments. Ms. Stanton.
Yes, sir. I'd like to remind everyone of the wonderful events that occur for free here in
The city of Fort Oglethorpe. The next event would be October 24th with Remembering Our Heroes. That will feature the 6th Cavalry Museum and the polo field. On November 7th at the memorial located in front of the colonnade is the Catoosa and Walker County Patriotic Citizen and Veteran of the Year. Veterans, you eat for free. Please make sure you come at 1 o'clock, and that's a momentous event that occurs each year here in Catoosa County. I'd like to remind everybody it is that time of year again. Spend your holiday dollars at home. The economy here in Fort Oglethorpe and Catoosa County depends a lot on our retail, restaurant, and entertainment venues being utilized not only just by our citizens, but bringing others into our area to enjoy all the wonderful amenities we have here in the city. And another great event coming up is November 14th that brings several thousand people to our community. And that would be the Chickamauga Battlefield Marathon and the Fort Oglethorpe 5K. With that being said, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce a friend and a wonderful director of this race, Miss Jenny Burrs.
Thank you, Council Lady Stinnett. I brought goodies I usually do every year. I've got some caps, and then for any of you that are texters with the weather starting to turn, these are texting gloves. So I'll leave those and y'all just grab them at will, okay? I just wanted to publicly thank, as usual, the city of Fort Oglethorpe for their support of this race. When you talk about the economy, it is something that brings people to this community, not just for that weekend, but you'll notice people coming here every weekend to train and sometimes during the week to train and visiting this area either before and after the race. I want to specifically mention the departments within the city that have been instrumental every year, and this year it gets even better. Lieutenant Bowman, Chief Ballou, Jeff Long, and then Paula Stinnett, and the other organizations that are tied in with the city. We've held this with this event for the past 9 years, even though it's 36 years old. We've held this event for the past 9 years at the polo field, and it's a wonderful venue. I know you use it for other things, and we couldn't do it without that venue. It wouldn't be as successful without that venue. It allows us the opportunity to make it a family-friendly event. We appreciate the use of the ball fields, Jeff Long, and we're excited about the lights because it'll help us at 5:30 in the morning when we're setting things up. And we also couldn't do it without the support of the Fort Oglethorpe Tourism Association, who's our presenting sponsor, and its representatives led by Chris McKeever. She is our logistics person. Between her and Council Lady Stinnett, we have been able to draw on even more of the community. 3 years ago, we added a 5K. The first year, it was in the park. Last year, we moved it to Fort Oglethorpe, and we've been able to grow it even more this year, with its second year being in Fort Oglethorpe, and it really helps to have your support. So I want to thank you again for your support, and I want to thank you for helping us bring 2,000 plus people to the community that weekend. I'm going to leave you with some information. It expands on the economic impact that this race brings into the community, about $100,000 every year with that race weekend and with some of the other events that we do in conjunction with that weekend. And we do as much as we can to use local businesses for all the items that we need for this race. So thank you again for all of your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions about the event?
Is it sold out?
We're pretty close. We're pretty close. We're keeping our fingers. Now, 5K, we will not sell out. We want to grow that one to the point that we have to even move it to further into Fort Oglethorpe. So I'll keep you posted. On the back of this information is a schedule of all the events. We welcome any of you to come out. And I want to mention Stephanie Rogers, who also is on our committee. She joined our committee this year, so thank you, Rogers family, for being a part of the planning process as well. On the back of this information is the schedule for race weekend. We'd love for you to come have pasta with us on Friday night and then come out to the race and see the festivities. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Burrs. Appreciate that.
You still got
That concludes this Mayor Pro Tem's moments.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny.
Mr. Crawford, you'll be next.
I'd just like to say it's nice to see all the department heads here tonight. Seems like y'all are doing a great job. It seems like the morale is great right now with your employees. Seeing good things out of, like with Captain McConaughey and different things like that. Phil, your guys are always out there working hard whenever it's in the worst weather moments. Jeff, you're always doing a great job. Chief Blue, can't say enough. Keep up the good work, guys. And just like to say thank you for the gesture from my uncle earlier. I know it means a lot to the family.
He was a good friend of mine, too.
Appreciate it, Mayor.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I'll echo another congratulatory statement for Captain McConaughey. That was really impressive. Happy to hear that, and certainly making the city proud.
Is that it?
Yep.
Mr. Smith.
Yes. I'd like to say for 30 years wearing that uniform, y'all make me proud. You really do. And the stuff that you've done here lately that I've been hearing about, it's a jam up for you. I'm proud of you. I'm getting to be too old to do anything, but yeah, just keep it up. Make me proud.
Is that it, Mr. Smith?
That's it.
Next item on the agenda, citizens petitions. Joanne Simpson.
Hey, Rod. Mayor, Council, City Manager. My name is Joanne Simpson. I live in Catoosa County. Approximately on September the 30th, about 10:30 p.m., some of us, me and my neighbors, were outside. I'd went out to smoke. I smelled a real bad odor. That odor was coming from the pump station down the street on Jim Drive. And it is in the city, so I called Mr. Goulart and I related to him about the terrible odor coming from the pump station. And his answer was to me, go in the house. Well, you know, I didn't want to go in the house. I mean, I was going to go down and check out because I was probably going to be given runaround. But anyway, my husband don't tell me to go in the house, Mr. Goulart. He advised me to call 911 when I came down to get on the agenda. And, well, I thought that was for health emergencies only, okay? I mean, the pump station can create some problems, you know. Several residents have breathing problems. My husband's one of them. He has COPD. So, Mr. Goulart left his card in my mailbox. He's afraid I was going to shoot him if he come to my door. And I just told him being an attorney, he knew better than that. Get my mailbox or anybody else's. Which I told you that, Ron, to your face, you know. So, I would like it if someone, I called EPA that night. And
We can't hear you. Can you speak in?
I called EPA that night, and they took my call at 10:30. The operator gave me her name and number. If y'all need it, I'll be more than glad to supply it to you. But something's got to be done. It's not all the time, but when it's bad, it's bad. And I don't think y'all would want to smell it. I wouldn't want you to. Do you have a pump station, Mr. Goodart? Or can I ask you a question? I'm not allowed.
You may, and no, I don't.
You don't have one?
No, I don't.
Hooray for you. Boy, that odor, you couldn't have stood it either. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Simpson. Next item on the agenda, citizens petition, Jerry Depkin.
I don't see the clock. I come before this council and the citizens of Fort Oglethorpe
Please
to
identify
correct...
yourself for the record, please.
Excuse me?
Please identify yourself for the
Jerry Depkin, 49 Eaton Circle. I come before this council and the citizens of Fort Oglethorpe to correct the mayor's version of my inquiry to see the anonymous letter which he read at the September 14th, 2015 council meeting. Shortly after the meeting on the 14th, I was at the city clerk's office when the mayor entered. There were 3 other people in the room. I quietly spoke to the mayor. I said to him, I think that I will ask you directly. I would like to see the actual anonymous letter and its envelope which you held up at the September 14th meeting. He responded to me in a loud voice that the letter was a private letter, that it came to his home, and that I had no right to it. It was none of my business. After a moment to collect myself, I reminded him that the letter was no longer private because he had read it aloud at the city council meeting. I did not need a copy of the letter because I would have it in the council minutes of that meeting. I just wanted to see the letter. I began to leave the clerk's office because I believed the conversation was going nowhere. The mayor then said that I could go to his home and I could get a copy there. Deciding that I was not going to chase the letter across town and stating that I did not even know where he lived, I continued my exit. On September 28th, I requested the city council look into the city's policy of reading anonymous letters at its meeting. At that time, the mayor did provide me with a copy of the letter that he had read, but that was not my request. I asked to see the original. Having consumed my 5 minutes, I sat down. A discussion began between Mayor Long and Council Lady Stennett. During that time, the mayor related his version of my request to him. He stated that she hit me, just blindsided me. I responded this is the mayor speaking still. I responded quickly, and then I said to Ms. Depkin that I don't mind you having a copy of the letter, unquote. He then stated he told me to stop by his house and I could get a copy. Those of you who know me at all know that I don't hit people and I don't blindside them. To misrepresent my request and for the mayor to deny me an opportunity to refute it does not speak well in my mind regarding the fairness of the mayor in this matter. My 5 minutes at the microphone was my opportunity to ask about reading anonymous letters. The discussion during which the mayor presented an incorrect rendition of my request to him was a totally new discussion which I hadn't requested, but one that I was brought into by the mayor. And this must have been apparent to everyone in attendance. Through an Open Records Act request specifically asking that the letter be brought to the city clerk's office, I was able to see the letter which the mayor said he had received in the mail. There were 3 additional people in attendance. I thanked him afterwards, reminding him that all I had asked originally was to see the letter. His response was, whatever. He again insisted that I had blindsided him with my request, and then commented that that's how people from the North act. Relating events incorrectly, repeatedly insisting that I'm a big boy and can take heat in the kitchen, and then discounting clarifications from his stakeholders by saying whatever. All these methods have limited benefits to all involved. I would hope that elected officials would act professionally and refrain from snide remarks toward their stakeholders at council meetings, meetings with others in attendance, and even in private meetings with their stakeholders. So from today on, I'm taking a public stand against such conduct. I'm just tired of it in the past, and I'm tired of it now. I hope that clarifies that I had only asked to see the letter and not get a copy. Thank you. It was 4 minutes at home.
Thank you.
Now, let me make a very, very, very brief statement. I did get a Freedom of Information request. Mr. Goulard gave me that on the day that this individual was given the opportunity to read and see a copy of this letter. I immediately called my wife, and within 10 minutes, I asked her to be there within 10 minutes, asked the city clerk to please call her, and asked her to get dressed. And I'd come home and pick her up and bring her down here. That's my wife sitting out there in blue. And so she brought it down to me, and I have a copy of the letter with me here today. So Ms. Stinnett was allowed to get a copy of the letter. The city clerk does now have a copy of the letter at City Hall, so if anybody else in the city chooses to get a copy of the letter, they can under Freedom of Information. And yes, I did make a statement that said, in the South, people don't abruptly say, I want a copy of anything. I did make that statement. And within a few seconds later, and I did react with probably a pretty stout little voice. And within a few seconds, I did say, I have a copy of that letter. The copy of that letter, the original, is in the file at my home, and I'll be glad to give you a copy of it. I do have a copy machine at my home. If you'll run by my house, I'll be glad to give you a copy of it. I did so state that. So she did state that in her comments. So it was a letter that I received in the mail. It all relates to the polo field at Labor Day at the Post, if I remember the function properly. The mayor, part of his role is to welcome citizens that come into the city and make them feel comfortable. When I went to the mic, the audio system was abruptly turned off, so I could not address the citizens or the visitors to the city. At that point in time, a council person was there who immediately apologized to myself and my wife, and we were the only three people on the podium at that time. That individual apologized to myself and my wife, and at that point in time, I walked down the podium, down the steps, and I spoke to the guy that was running the audio system. He said, look, she pays my salary. I got to do what she tells me. At that point in time, I've been around Fort Oglethorpe for a long time. The citizens of this city own the polo field. No organization does, the citizens do. And I want the citizens and the people that come and visit our city to feel very welcome. That's why our city's experienced untold growth in the last 15 years. And I went to every vendor that had a tent, and I welcomed them to the city of Fort Oglethorpe. And I wish them great financial rewards, that they would sell a lot of product at Labor Day at the Post. And at that point in time, my wife and I got in my old truck and we went home. So the letter's clarified now, so that's the issue, and it's a dead issue as far as I'm concerned. So, let's move on. Mr. Stoltz, do we have anything for the executive session tonight?
No, sir.
Mr. Smith?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.